Welcome to the BFF Report. I'm your host, Mike BAK Phony, and everybody has MoP footage. Everybody has MoP footage. All those guys who've been playing since like Cataclysm, maybe End of Wrath, they're all in the beta, right? Not you guys, right? The ones who've been playing since vanilla beta and all that stuff. I know it sucks, but they're sending out like 100,000 invites every other day, every other week. So I'm sure eventually they're gonna get to everybody and have all of you who did sign up for the annual pass into beta, so we'll all be able to enjoy it together. Anytime I do an MMO, I always go through the character creation process. In this case, I thought I wasn't going to, but then I found out that they did make a ton of changes to the actual process of making a character. God damn, that is an ugly ass goblin. Oh my god. Is that real? I didn't know this. I didn't even know that this exists. Look at this face. And you know, I actually like female goblins. I have one as a main. This is wow, holy crap. Anyways, way better. Holy crap, now she's sexy, comparatively speaking. Now, taking a look at the actual layout of character creation, notice that all of the races are on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, we have all of the classes. We should also note that the gear that's being shown is the high-level gear. It shows you what your character is gonna look like, you know, 24 hours from now when you hit level 85 and you already have all of your welfare perks. I'm kind of glad they started doing this though, because a lot of times you get into an MMO and you get to see what your character looks like at high level. It's like incentive to get there, right? And here, obviously the monk is a little bit different because they're not going to showcase that gear to us just yet, and the Death Knight hasn't really changed. But anyways, it's nice to see that World of Warcraft is starting to adopt some of these things that everybody else has been doing for a long time. Let's go ahead and click around here a little bit, check out the humans. God, just hideous. This dwarves, wow. Dwarves come save the day with most attractive looking character right off the bat. Gnomes, wow, that background, all right. Yeah, beta. All right, let's go to the Pandaren. Pandaren females, let's start with the males first. Here we go. If we go into actual creation, we see that the layout here has also changed. It's no longer just hit a right or left arrow to pick stuff. You can actually see what you're selecting. So we're going through here. And some of the stuff is actually new from when we first started beta a couple weeks ago. So that's nice. Go to faces. We can change that around a little bit. I wish I could zoom in on the face. Can't do that. Doing all the other games. Come on, Blizzard, hook it up. We want to be able to see our faces up close. But then again, I guess if you're rolling anything other than a panda, goblin, or worgen, all the faces up close look like garbage, so maybe that's not such a good idea. Different hairstyles and all of that. Gonna go ahead and hair color. Lots of selection there. Probably not put in just yet. Interesting. Yes. Yeah, very cool. Whatever. The standard stuff you'd expect. I mean, come on, how could you not have this? Really? By the way, notice that the panda's dangly bits there jiggle when I turn them. Look at that. Just swinging them in your face. Look at that. That's enough of that. Okay, let's go back. Now let's go to the females. Let's see. Here we go. Now, I think they did a pretty good job with the female Pandaren. They actually made them look not skanky. So that's great. And they also didn't make them look like torn females. I'm sorry if you have a torn female, but I mean, let's be honest, guys. Let's be honest. I mean, you guys and troll females kind of right there neck and neck. Anyways, let's find some long hair here. Now, I know when you run, the hair actually moves. It might not move when I swing it around here. Her dangly bits move. Look at dangly bits. Yeah. This looks good. Let's go ahead and actually... Let's get into the game so I can show you guys what this actually looks like when she runs. Let's see. So we'll give her a name. Quick name. Quick. Dangly bits. Here we go. All right. All right, no dramatic intro, obviously, because they haven't had to put it in the game yet. But now if we look at her hair... Notice that it moves when she runs. Now, it's not actually responding to the speed of your character in which he's running. It's actually just an animation that's going. So I bet if I go side to side, notice that it's not actually moving. So don't get too excited. It's actually moving the wrong way. It's just, you know, just defying any type of physics whatsoever. But that's fine. See, we're going to start the first quest off here, and we're going to fast forward this just a little bit because we're not going to sit here and... Oh, actually, wait, before we go anywhere, let's see if they fix this yet. This is important. Oh, she has clothes. Bummer. Total bummer. Let's see. She has undergarments. God, so sorry, guys. I'll go ahead and show you what it looked like beforehand. Oh, wait, I don't know if I can show you this. Okay, there we go. That's better. Now, one thing I want to point out is something that we probably all take for granted. We have a brand new race. We have a whole bunch of new race class combinations. So obviously we have all, that's a naked male panda. What the hell? We have all these new animations that need to be associated with all of these new class abilities, right? Now, I'm bringing this up because I want to point out that even if you're not a monk class, a martial arts based class, your character still holds these martial arts style stances and the way that it kind of handles its weapon and all of that. Two-handed stave, no problem. Look at it, I look like I'm wielding a Donatello. That's what I'm talking about. Like, they actually stuck with the theme for every single class. And I want to just point this out because I appreciate that they actually went through the trouble of getting all of these really nice new animations in there for the Pandaren. And you should appreciate it too, unless you don't play WoW and you're just watching this because you know I'm about to bust on them for some stuff here in a couple minutes. Yeah. Now we have a new race, which means we have a new starting zone, thankfully, right? It's not like the dwarves and the gnomes are piggybacking off each other. This is an actual legit new starting zone, and it's another one of those situations where, like the goblins and the worgen, you have a starting zone that you're never going to see again. Once you leave, that's it, you're done. Unfortunately, that sucks. When you can revisit any other starting zone if you want for any other race, but for those three, I guess we're gonna stick with this whole process of here's this kind of linear progression to kick you out of this land and you can never come back again. Now, overall, the entire starting zone for me was a little under par, especially compared to like the Goblin and the Worgen starting zone. I loved those starting zones. I mean, you escape via a tunnel in the Worgen starting zone, and you get rocketed across to another island, and then you have a town in a box for the Goblin one. And there's all kinds of cool things that gave it this large, epic feel. In this case, you're on a turtle out in the middle of the ocean, and he's been struck in the side by a ship, and he's bleeding profusely, and you can actually go stand inside of the blood, and as you can see here, and nothing's happening. It's kind of amusing in a sense. But overall, it was kind of soft. It didn't really, yeah, there was monkeys and stuff that would jump on your head and beat you down. They're trolling up the entire island and stuff like that. There's a little bit of chaos places, but the chaos is like, hey, wow, these crazy rabbits are stealing vegetables. Why don't you go ahead and retrieve those vegetables for us? I mean, really? But here's the thing. One thing I can say is that they are working this engine into the ground. Look at right here. So I'm standing here and I take a couple steps forward. You notice that it actually draws up all of the vegetation out in the distance. Now, this is something we've seen before, but there's so much stuff within the vicinity here that it can't draw everything out to my sightline. So you get this weird effect as I'm walking through of things being drawn, and that looks kind of funky. So yes, we are clearly pushing the limits of this engine, and I can't say that it doesn't look really good, but it sucks whenever you see stuff like this. You're like, oh, that's right, I'm playing WoW. I can't see more than 50 yards in front of me. Now, after I was finished with that, I decided to go check out the Jade Forest with my main and kind of float around there and do a couple quests and everything to kind of see what changed, you know, what's different and what kind of things, you know, they're adding to it. And unfortunately, you know, and this is, it's like, I say unfortunately because in the past couple years, we have been given all of these unique questing options. And I'm not talking about World of Warcraft, I'm talking about other MMOs. Now, I know right now there's probably some of you guys are out there like, oh, Mike Beats is being a Guild Wars 2 fanboy. Okay, well, check this out. Here's what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna go ahead and forget that Guild Wars 2 even exists. It's not even out yet. Let's just go ahead and just get rid of it. I don't need it for this argument to talk about how World of Warcraft's questing system is now archaic and quote unquote classic. Star Wars Old Republic, everything is fully voiced. You have a dialogue wheel. You can choose how you want to interact with people. How about Rift? We'll go back a step further. Rift had dynamic events. So say you're out there killing 10 rabbits and you're coming back with your 10 rabbit carcasses in a bag and you're about to turn those things into the quest giver, and guess what? Some jackass centaur spawned from a nearby rift that nobody closed is now camping your quest giver. Killing him and closing that rift is now a quest. Since we're talking about Rift, let's go a step further to Warhammer. Warhammer had group quests. You go out there and you show up and you have an event that happens and you take part in it and you get stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, kind of like what happens in Rift. You see how these things happen, they evolve? That's something that World of Warcraft is not quite doing. Yes, they added phasing, which is great. The world changes around you. That is sweet. However, in order to get the world to change around you, you're still running around doing FedEx quests, or you're doing kill 10 of these things, and it still feels archaic. So in short, if you've already played Cataclysm 80 to 85, then you pretty much already know all of the different questing types you're going to be getting in Mists of Pandaria. So unfortunately, that means you're really not getting anything new and different. Now, with all that being said, they did add a couple things to make questing easier and a bit more affordable, as in the amount of time spent doing a quest is actually rewarded appropriately. For example, they added AoE looting. That's kind of cool. I went and spent all this time killing all these guys at the same time because I'm an amazing prot warrior in PvP gear, just doing all kinds of amazing things out here in the PvE environments. And then I'm like, oh, I want to loot them all at the same time. No problem. Right click on one of them and then boom, bags are full. Sure, I could say this has been in every other MMO release in the past like year, but we won't go there. We'll just go ahead and stick with, yay, it's finally in World of Warcraft. Also, on the being rewarded appropriately thing, I noticed that as I was getting quest rewards, they strangely were all tailored to my class. Not just my class, but also my spec. I thought that was kind of interesting. So I looked it up and I found out that all green rewards are now tailored to your spec, and all blue rewards will give you an option between all of your different specs, but all the rewards are tailored to your class. That is sick. Unfortunately though, the quests that you do in order to get all these rewards are still kind of, you know, they're kind of just all right. Now, obviously, I'm not talking at all about all the other stuff that they're adding. Hey, maybe I might be a fan of pet battles. We'll cover that in a future BFF report, I am sure. What about challenge modes? Hey, I might be a big fan of that because that feels like something that I might do. It's competitive PvE. That's kind of interesting. What about the new battlegrounds? Hey, those are 2 new concepts. It's not just another Warsong Gulch, another AB that's gonna suck for the first 3 months. Suddenly, questing doesn't seem like that big of a deal anymore, does it? We still have all this other stuff to look forward to. Well, hopefully that stuff delivers, because right now, 85 through 86, Jade Forest and the Pandaren starting zone is just okay. Now, how about some highlights, right? I was in the Jade Forest and I was doing some quests and I had to go and meditate at this altar. This is kind of funny. Now this obviously all this stuff, this is not included in the quest sucks rant thing that everybody's gonna say, oh, Mike B hates World of Warcraft now that I just did. This is actually completely separate from that. This is more stuff that is clearly going to be fixed by the time the game launches, but is hilarious right now. So you do this series of quests. You go and you meditate at these other places, you light candles or something, and then you end up at this place where you have to meditate by triggering a sequence. And the sequence puts you in a phase, and this guy runs around circles and stuff around you, and then he bops you in the head, and you have to hit 1 or 2 to kind of keep yourself balanced. All about balance with the pandas, right? But the thing is, in beta, for some reason, only 1 person was able to do that at any given time, and it took about 3 minutes to complete. When you have a bitch ton of people in beta all at once, especially right now, they just put out 250,000 more beta invites. If this quest isn't fixed, I'm sure it is by now. I'm just gonna say it's fixed now. This line right here is going to be hilarious. I cannot wait to see this line. This line is formed because people know that if they don't keep orderly, then anytime somebody goes and triggers an event when somebody's already in an event, it bugs out for both of them. Here in this video that I sped up, you know, I'm not even gonna speed it up. How about I just show you when I started the footage? Look, this is the footage in my box right here. This is where all my footage is at in Premiere. Notice the time difference here between when I started and when I finally realized that it was never going to let me go, and I decided to log out and log back in, which eventually fixed it. But still, what is that, like 7 minutes? That is hilariously long. And if I didn't log out and log back in, it's possible that nobody could ever do this quest again. I am literally camping a quest, which is again why they're all standing in a line, because everybody recognized that we have to work together as a team. This is actually the best example of camaraderie and teamwork in World of Warcraft that I've seen in recent years, is this line right here. And I thought that was hilarious. Moving on, monks. Now, we all remember when Death Knights came out, Death Knights were broken. Everybody rolled a Death Knight because they were OP. They just smashed everybody's face. It doesn't even matter. So here, monks are broken in a little bit of a different way. I don't know if they're overpowered yet as far as a one-on-one situation, which doesn't matter in PvP, but I'm sure people are gonna, whatever. We're talking about mechanically, they are very, very broke. First, the animations are funny. You tell it to slash sleep, and she narcoleptic. She falls on her face. You tell her to get into your sweet ride here in the sidecar, and she prefers to stand up. I don't know why. It's obviously broke. She doesn't sit down when she gets in the car, but that's still really funny. Now, this particular panda that we're going to use for this demonstration is obviously named Mike B, aka Phony. This is Lore. Lore likes to pretend to be me when he's not, you know, doing PST and Weekly Marmots. Haha, yeah, people totally buy that. Now, Lore doesn't have a mount, and I just happen to have an extra pink love mount. So I was like, hey, dude, why don't you go ahead and take one of these mounts here and, you know, have yourself a nice day and stuff. He's like level 30 something, right? 60% mount. And he's like, cool, thanks. And he gets on and he's like, you know, this feels kind of slow. I'm better off not using a mount at all. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Lore? And he's like, allow me to demonstrate, Mike B. All right, so here's the deal. Lore's gonna start here. I'm gonna drive off to the end point. This is where he's going to stop. This is the distance he's going to cover here. Now, the thing is, you're not actually gonna see him travel because he's outside of my view distance, but I just wanna show you how far this is on a ground mount. This is a 100% ground mount. Now, we're not really showing off yet. Right now, we're just kind of setting things up. I'm showing you that he's going to get so close to me that he's going to just appear next to me like this, and I didn't even see him coming. That's because he came, again, out of my draw distance, and by the time the game caught up to actually put him in my renderer, he was already standing next to me. Still not quite that big of a deal. Well, it's only because you didn't actually see how fast he's actually moving. So we're gonna do a couple more tests. We're gonna get all scientific on it, get an aerial view, and we're gonna do a side by side and show you guys the difference between coupling the flying serpent kick and a couple rolls and doing a 60% mount and then running. And then lastly, I'm going to race him on my 280% mount. It's 280% because Darnell's cheap. Sorry. Obviously, no contest there. We're gonna go ahead and let the running panda get up there just for effect so you guys can see how quickly they can cover that distance. And we're gonna get to reason why it's OP in just a minute. I decided to get down and actually jump on my ground mount 100% and race Lore side by side just to see who's the fastest on the ground. Now here we go, I have a pretty good lead for about 1.5 feet, and then he takes off with 2 rolls, and then he follows it up with a flying serpent kick, and then another roll right after that, which is now nerfed, but it doesn't really matter because he still would have beat me to whatever point I was trying to get to in that very short distance. Now we are not done yet, we're gonna do one more run. This is the final one, 280% mount. I'm not even sure if a 300% mount would make that big of a difference here, but we're gonna go ahead and do it anyways. I am flying, mind you. He is on the ground, and we're going about, I would say about 300 or so yards. He's gonna do 2 rolls again, then a flying serpent kick right here. You see, there he goes. He's gonna follow with another roll, and he got to that point right about the same time that I was flying over it. That is OP. Why? Right off the top of my head, hey, we're in AB. Oh snap, somebody's taking stables. Somebody get there quick. No problem, flying serpent kick now goes over water. I will be there in just a second, as fast as a flying mount. That's what makes this OP and hilarious, because I'm pretty sure this is probably not gonna make it to live as is, but if it does, I might just roll a monk because mobility is king in PvP. All right guys, so that's pretty much it for MoP, or for MoP, lols, or whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. We did cover a couple things because I know you guys maybe didn't see, so not everybody has seen all of the Let's Play, the 90-minute Let's Play videos available on YouTube. I know some of you guys didn't wanna stay tuned for all of that stuff, and I try to give you as much information as I can in a very compact video, much like I do with every week on the BFF Report. Now, next week, I don't know what is coming up. I still have to do dungeons and all of that stuff, or anything else that they release. Right now, it's just the Jade Forest. But I still want to do, if the Battlegrounds come out, I'm gonna continue leveling a character. I'm gonna try to get it up to max level. That way I can get you guys all of the information that you guys really want to see as soon as possible. But I don't know if that's gonna happen by next week. It really depends on what zones they make available to us. Again, given the way they're staggering the invites, I'm pretty sure that content's not gonna be just completely unlocked within the first week, unless like between the time you watch this video and next week, they're like, oh hey, here's the other 800,000 invites. Everybody's in beta now. But thanks for watching. Make sure to follow me at aka Mike V on Twitter, on Facebook. Make sure to check out my band, the music that you hear playing on every BFF report for the intro, the outro, and also all the music underneath. We got lots of new music that we've been releasing, and by the time you guys watch this again, maybe tomorrow or so, or maybe the Monday afterwards, we have a cool Game of Thrones remix coming out that we're really proud of, and that's a free one. You guys can come download it. It's Game of Thrones remix, or Song of Fire and Ice, for those of you guys who are... But that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.